Okay, welcome back to the deep dive. You've handed us this stack of sources, all centered around the eye of the world, and wow, it really drops you right into a story, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. You start in this place that feels, totally normal, maybe even a bit quiet.
Yeah, Emmons Field, and then everything just kind of implodes.
Exactly. So this deep dive, we're basically tracking that explosion. We're following these young people from this very ordinary
It's
village
Emmons Field, right?
as they get thrown onto this huge, terrifying stage,
Right.
far bigger than anything they'd ever imagined. We're pulling it all straight from the sources you gave us.
And the mission really is to understand that shift, you
Right.
know? How do you even cope when your whole world just tears apart, seemingly overnight?
Well, it starts, like you said, somewhere incredibly grounded, Emmons Field in the Two Rivers. The sources really emphasize the isolation.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
trips to the next village are called big events.
Right. And going all the way to the Mountains of Mist, that's like going to the moon for them.
Yeah.
Far afield.
Totally. Their whole world is tiny. So the sources establish this bedrock of normalcy, before it all goes sideways.
And that contrast is so important, isn't it? Makes what happens next hit even harder.
Absolutely. Because even in this quiet spot, the sources kind of hint that things aren't quite right, even before the dramatic arrivals.
Yeah, you see those first little cracks, talk of hard winter, characters like Senbui are worried sick about the crops not sprouting.
Right. There's this general vibe that the season's wrong, something's, off.
And the peddler, Padan Fane, he's late. The sources mention he's usually the first sign of the outside world each spring.
Yeah, brings news, goods. His delay isn't just an inconvenience. It actually adds to this low-level tension. Like the world outside is holding its breath or something.
Almost symbolic, yeah. And then you get the local chatter turning towards bad luck, omens.
Uh-huh. Senbui and Bran Alver, the mayor.
Innkeeper, too, right?
Yeah, Bran Alver. They're talking about finding that Dragon's Fang sign painted on someone's door. It shows people are already jumpy, looking for reasons for this bad feeling.
And that vague bad feeling gets very specific very fast.
Oh, yeah. The sources describe Rand, Matt, and Perrin seeing this.
Mm.
A terrifying black-cloaked rider. It's made clear this isn't just some stranger passing through. There's real dread attached to him.
And almost right after that, you get these other strangers showing up, described as strangers like you never even dreamed of, Moiraine and Lan.
Their arrival itself is unsettling for the village. You can feel it in the writing.
And the reactions. Nane of Almera, the village wisdom, instant friction with Moiraine.
Oh, totally. Moiraine calls her child, and you just see those sparks fly immediately in the source text.
But amidst all this brewing trouble, there's this brief moment of, well, normalcy almost. Tom Maryland, the gleeman, arrives for the Beltane Festival.
Right, the storyteller.
Yeah.
Juggling, music, tales. He brings this temporary distraction just before the real storm breaks. It's like the village is trying to cling to the familiar.
But it doesn't last. The sources detail the Trolloc attack, and it sounds absolutely brutal.
Horrifying stuff. They kill for the pleasure of killing. They're untrustworthy. But the real shock, the sources emphasize, isn't just the attack, but where it happens.
Yeah, Lon points out Trollocs haven't been seen in the Two Rivers for, what was it?
Almost 2,000 years. He expected them hundreds and hundreds of leagues north, near the Blight, not way down here.
That detail alone just tells you this is completely off the map, unprecedented for them, and it gets personal fast. Bran's own farm gets hit.
Yeah, he finds his father, Tam, wounded by a Trolloc blade. A really dark moment.
He gets Tam back to the village, looking for help from Nynaeve and Master Alver.
And the sources capture Nynaeve's position here really well. She's the wisdom, the healer, but she knows her limits. She knows when it's too late, but she still has to try.
And Tom pops up again, stirring the pot a bit, asking about that dragon's fang on the inn door.
Right, suggesting maybe not everyone is thrilled about these powerful visitors, adds another layer of tension.
All this chaos basically forces Moiraine to show her hand, doesn't it?
Exactly. She has to reveal who she is an Aes Sedai, and she notes they don't wear signs. And Lan is her warder.
And Rand's reaction in the text is just pure disbelief. She can't be. I talked to her. He can't square the woman he met with this legendary, kind of feared figure.
And then Moiraine drops the real bombshell. The attack wasn't random. The Trollocs, led by the Myrddraal, were specifically looking for Rand, Matt, and Perrin. The Myrddraal saw it, and none others.
Wow. Okay, so not just monsters running wild, targeted because why?
She says there's something the Dark One fears in one or maybe all three of them, which is just a massive shift in perspective for everyone involved.
Huge. And it means they have to bolt. Immediately. Moiraine's clear. Leave for Tarvalon as soon as full dark. Delay, even a day, could be fatal.
And secrecy becomes critical. Moiraine insists, keep all of this just among us. She's worried about whoever painted that dragon's fang.
For Rand, the sources describe this as more than just leaving home. It's like his whole world is tearing loose. He feels apart from the village now. A fundamental break.
So they scramble. A nighttime escape. Rand, Mat, Perrin, Egwene, Tom, Moiraine, Lan. Rand leaves a note for Tam.
Heading for the Terran River. But even just crossing isn't simple. Master Hightower, the ferryman.
Yeah, he demands payment, not just the fare, but damages for, bringing Trollocs down on his ferry.
Moiraine handles it, though, calmly assures him he'll be paid.
But the danger's right there. Lan warns about Drygar, these flying creatures of the shadow searching the riverbanks.
You get a real sense of the fear from the villagers as they leave Emond's Field behind. The mist, the tension. The sources say they jump at every sound, bunching up their horses even though Lan told them to spread out.
Really shows how freaked out and inexperienced they are. But there's that interesting saying that comes up, better to spit in a wolf's eye than to cross an Aes Sedai.
Right. So even though they're scared of Moiraine maybe, her power actually seems to lessen some of their immediate panic. It's a weird mix of fear and, reliance.
And as they travel, the shadow finds other ways to get at them, not just physically, but in their dreams.
Oh, yeah, this part gets really disturbing. Rand and Mat both have these awful nightmares. Rand keeps encountering this figure he calls Baalzamon.
The descriptions are chilling, aren't they? Fire in the eyes and mouth, claiming many names. The landscape in the dream keeps shifting, sometimes bleak, sometimes like a prison cell.
And there's the sense of repetition for Rand. Baalzamon saying, each time it is you, like this has happened before, plus those voices whispering, die, die, die. Pure torment.
Mat's dream is incredibly visceral, too. Baalzamon taking his cry, my eyes, oh light, my eyes. Just awful. Tom notices how shaken they are, asks them about it.
Their journey then leads them to this place, Shadar Logoth. The sources describe it as radiating this ancient, heavy evil.
Moiraine identifies it. Ancient Daratal, an ally of Mandarin, destroyed way back in the Trolloc Wars.
And the story of how it fell is, wow. This guy Mordeth corrupted the king, Balin. It wasn't outsiders, it was internal rot. Paranoia, this twisted obsession with victory the light is all, until the city basically consumed itself, attacked its own people, anyone who came near.
Yeah, a really dark tale. And the evil lingers. Mashadar, this silvery mist, living shadows. Lan explains it's weird because this evil hates the Dark One's forces too, but it's just as deadly to humans. It apparently can't stand daylight.
And then they actually meet Mordeth, still there, somehow, in a treasure room, and that detail.
Chilling. You don't have a shadow. He transforms, attacks them, screaming, you are all dead.
Getting out of Shadar Logoth sounds nightmarish, pursued by Mashadar and the Trollocs and the Fade that followed them in.
Yeah, Rand's ride, desperately trying to stay ahead of the mist, his horse cloud panicking.
Yeah.
It's intense, and the city's own evil is so strong, it actually stops the Trollocs from following them further into it.
Evil fighting evil, and in all that chaos, the group gets split up.
Right. Rand, Mat, and Tom end up on a boat, heading down the Terran River. Egwene, Perrin, Nynaeve, Moiraine, and Lan have to go overland.
Okay, so let's stick with Rand, Mat, and Tom first. On the riverboat, the sources capture that sense of, normal river travel for a bit, captain worried about money, a deckhand named Gelb gossiping about Trollocs.
But normal doesn't last long for them, does it?
Oh.
A Fade shows up, right there on the boat.
And Tom makes this incredible sacrifice. He just yells, run in, and goes right at the Fade with his daggers, buys the boys time to jump overboard.
Such a powerful moment. And heartbreaking. Rand's reaction, Tom's dead. He was mine too. They have to leave him behind. Rand grabs his cloak and harp as they escape. That loss clearly hits them hard.
So now they're on their own, basically. Heading overland towards Camlin, the capital, struggling, sleeping rough, Mat complaining constantly.
Yeah, the sources mention their aches and pains.
Yeah.
They meet a Master Kinch who warns them about dark friends being everywhere now. The paranoia is spreading.
And they definitely feel hunted. At an inn in Four Kings, they get a bad vibe immediately. Try to sneak out, find the windows barred.
They figure out the innkeeper, Hake, sent his guy Patri to check on them, probably planning to turn them in.
So they manage to trap Patri in the room and bolt. And just as they escape, a Fade shows up at the inn. Someone definitely tipped them off.
They have a couple more unsettling encounters, too. A farmer gives them scarves, says they belong to my boys, but warns them not to be seen, adds, you don't know me, just emphasizes the fear. everywhere.
And then they bump into Patri again on the road. He's terrified, tries to question them. He heard what went down at the inn.
And Matt has this moment of surprisingly sharp thinking. He scares Patri off by pretending they are dark friends, shows how much the journey is changing them, maybe hardening them.
Okay, so while Rand and Matt are having that lovely time, what about the other group? Egwene, Perrin, Nynaeve, Moiraine, and Lon.
Their journey is intense too, but in different ways. They meet Elias Machera, man with yellow eyes.
Ah, yeah. And this introduces the whole wolf brother thing, right?
Exactly. It turns out Perrin has this deep connection to wolves. He can feel their thoughts, their emotions, things like hatred and the taste of blood. Elias explains it's an ancient ability lost to time. Not from the Dark One, he says, but definitely dangerous.
Fascinating. A power from nature, but still feared. And they also meet the traveling people, the Tuathian.
Yes, Rain and Isla represent them. They follow the way of the leaf, total nonviolence. The sources describe their camps full of music, dancing, seemingly separate from the world's darkness.
But even that piece isn't absolute, is it? Their grandson, Aram.
Yeah, Aram decides to leave the way of the leaf. He's drawn away by something else. It kind of highlights how hard it is to maintain that pacifism when the world is, well, like it is now.
And then Nynaeve finally catches up. She's been tracking them relentlessly since Emond's Field.
And Moiraine reveals something huge to her. Based on village talk, Moiraine suspected it, but now she tells Nynaeve directly, you can wield the one power yourself after a fashion.
Wow. Nynaeve, the wisdom can channel. That must have floored her.
You bet. Moiraine basically gives her a choice. Go back to Emond's Field, be the wisdom, or come to Tar-Valon and learn to control this power. A massive decision.
Their group also runs afoul of the Children of the Light, the White Cloaks.
Yeah, the sources paint them pretty starkly. All in white, convinced they see dark friends everywhere, very self-righteous. Perrin and Egwene actually get captured by them, Child Buyer and Lord Captain Bornhold.
Scary stuff. Bornhold questions them about Elias. The wolf brother finds Perrin's axe.
But surprisingly, he left them go. He claims his duty is to get to Caemlyn, and the wolves delayed him enough. Egwene's surprise is right there in the text. Then you're letting us go.
Later, Lon tells Perrin his wolf thing isn't the Dark One's touch, but they still don't know what it is. Adds to the mystery and the danger around Perrin. It's a power nobody really understands.
So eventually, both groups make your way to Caemlyn, the big city. Rand and Matt get there first.
And it just overwhelms them, the scale of it. More than he would have believed, the source says about Rand's reaction. Buildings piled high.
They find the inn Moiraine mentioned, the Queen's Blessing, run by Master Gil. Rand tells him Tom is dead, shows the cloak and harp.
Gil knew Tom, confirms he had trouble with the Queen's guards before. He agrees to hide the boys, but he's super cautious.
Yeah, warns them. Don't mention Aes Sedai, don't mention Tom publicly. He's worried about the guards or the White Cloaks coming and painting a dragon's fang on his door. Shows the danger isn't just monsters, but politics too.
And then finally the others arrive. Egwene, Perrin, Nynaeve, Moiraine, Lan. Must have been a huge relief, that reunion.
Definitely. Though the sources note Perrin's changed, keeping his eyes downcast. Probably thinking about the wolves, the White Cloaks.
They also meet Loyal at the inn, the Ogier.
Ah, Loyal. Yeah, wonderful character. Described as looking like the very old man, but clearly not human. From a steading, loves books. He just sort of joins their group.
While they're in Caemlyn, Rand sees this big event, Loghain, the false dragon being brought into the city. Crowds, white cloaks, a whole procession.
And trying to get a better look, Rand does that classic fantasy thing.
And accidentally wanders into the royal palace grounds.
Yeah.
And bumps right into Elaine, the daughter heir.
And her half-brothers, Golan and Galad. The source makes a point about Galad never lying.
Of course, Rand gets nabbed by the guards, but Elaine steps in, claims he's her guest, which leads to a pretty major encounter.
Right. He's brought before Queen Morgus herself,
Yeah.
and Aes Sedai is there too. Red Aja, known for the foretelling.
And Elaida just zeroes in on Rand. The source gives us her foretelling, and it's a showstopper. This boy will break the world.
Ooh. Morgus brushes it off, says that's not what she asked for. She wanted a foretelling about the White Cloaks. But Rand feels Elaida watching him, senses real danger from her.
So with danger seemingly everywhere, and their next stop Feldara in the Borderlands, Moiraine needs Loyal special skills.
Well, first, Loyals explains a bit more about the prophecies. The Dragon Reborn, Calendar the Sword, and the Stone of Tear. He addresses that paradox Rand was thinking about earlier. How can the dragon take the sword if the stone hasn't fallen, but the stone won't fall until he takes it? Loyal says it's just part of the prophecy.
Okay, so Moiraine reveals the next leg is way north, Feldara, near the Blight. And they need Loyal to guide them through the
Ah,
ways.
yes, the ways. The Ogier transport network. Ancient, but the sources say it's incredibly dangerous now. Dark, echoing, paths broken, the guiding stones corrupted.
Loyal is terrified. He's only read about them in books.
But Lan's pretty blunt. Fighting the Dark One means taking risks. Even risks like this.
And the journey sounds like a complete nightmare. Pitch black, feeling pursued, they find a guiding stone that's been vandalized. Proof the corruption has spread even there.
And the worst thing in the ways is Machin Shin, the Black Wind.
What does it do?
The sources say it whispers things at you. Accusations, murderer, thief, liar, feeding on your fears, your guilt, tries to just consume your soul. Escaping it is this frantic race through the darkness.
Just getting out sounds like a massive win. They emerge near Feldara, a Borderlands fortress.
And the contrast is immediate. Stark, military, built for war against the Blight. Very different from Aemon's Field or even Camlin. They meet the commander, Lord Aegilmar Jagad.
Aegilmar recognizes Lan, calls him Daishan, a title from Malkyr, Lan's lost homeland.
Yeah, and he makes this desperate plea. Trollocs are massing at Tarwin's Gap, a vital pass. Will Lan raise the Golden Crane banner of Malkyr and fight?
A huge moment for Lan, surely. A call to his past.
But he refuses. His duty now, he says, is to Moiraine. As her warder sworn to the flame of Tar Valon, Moiraine also refuses to stay, saying their battle lies elsewhere.
Aegilmar's frustrated, understandably. He needs fighters. Says Lan alone would be worth 1,000 lances, but Moiraine's mission is more important, apparently.
And just when you think they're maybe safe inside the fortress walls, guess who else is in Faldar?
Oh no, let me guess. Padon Fane.
Bingo. He's brought before Aegilmar, putting on this act of being important, persecuted.
But Moiraine sees through it.
Completely. She uses her abilities, maybe healing him slightly, and perceives the truth. She reveals Fane was captured years ago, taken to Shaiol Ghul, the Dark One's prison, and twisted, changed, made into a hound for the Dark One, bound specifically to track Rand, Mat, and Perrin. His entire purpose is to follow you three into the grave.
That is deeply unsettling. It explains how they've been followed so relentlessly. It wasn't just random monsters, it was him.
Moiraine even says the Fade in Emond's Field brought Fane along, and that he heard the Trollocs arguing about how to cook him on the journey. Just horrific torture that turned him into this perfect tracker.
Okay, so Fane is neutralized, maybe. What's next?
Moiraine reveals their actual final destination. Not Tar Valon. It's the Eye of the World.
The Eye of the World. Aegilmar is shocked, right? Calls it a place no one finds.
Exactly. Moiraine says it's found through need and intention, and then the real stunner. She says Rand, Mat, and Perrin. They're the ones who will fight the battle there. Not her and Lan, these untrained farm boys.
Aegilmar can barely believe it. The source says he even reaches for his sword, thinking maybe Moiraine's red Aja come to hunt a false dragon like Logan.
He just can't wrap his head around simple boys being that important. But Moiraine confirms it. They are Tavern. People, the pattern itself weaves around. That's why they're hunted, why they have to go to the Eye.
And Aegilmar accepts it.
He does. Focuses his own forces on defending Tarwin's Gap, leaving the fate of the world, apparently, to Moiraine and these boys.
So the final leg of the journey, into the Blight itself.
Grim territory. Diseased plants, dying trees. Lan says it plainly. The Blight, what you see, what you feel, is the Dark One's touch. Utter corruption.
And even there they sense something else. Another evil.
Yeah, older, deeper. Loyal worries it might be Mashadar, the evil from Shadar Logoth, somehow reaching out from the mountains. And of course, they're still pursued by Shadowspawn.
But they find a guide in the middle of the Blight.
The Green Man. A figure of legend. Made of leaves, wood, moss. The guardian of the Eye of the World and the Tree of Life.
And he leads them. Where?
Through the Blight. But as they follow him, the land changes. It becomes beautiful, green, untouched by the corruption all around them. Like a sanctuary.
And they reach the Eye itself. What's it like?
A clear lake. An island with a Tree of Life surrounded by pristine nature. A pocket of perfect life in the midst of death.
And the final image the sources give us as they arrive.
Beside the Tree of Life, there's a man struggling with a dark mass that writhed and spat and screamed. The confrontation is happening right as they get there.
Okay, so the sources kind of leap over the actual fight details, but mention things like Rand's dream battle with Balsamon happening there. What about the aftermath?
After the battle, the Eye is changed. The Green Man is weakened, spent. The Blight starts creeping back in, dead leaves falling. It seems like the victory came at a cost.
But then something else happens.
Yeah, the pattern itself seems to shift violently. The blight all around them doesn't just stop. It recedes dramatically, replaced by new growth, bursting out. The source says it's like spring, race to catch up.
A restoration. And Moiraine's final words.
She acknowledges the cost, calls it a mighty blow, but then, almost whispering, she delivers the line, "The prophecies will be fulfilled, the dragon is reborn."
Wow, okay. So pulling all that from the sources, we've traced this unbelievable path from a tiny, quiet village to the literal edge of the world, confronting ancient evil, ordinary people caught up in cosmic events.
Exactly. The key things that jump out are, they aren't random, they're taverns central to fate. They were hunted relentlessly, not just by monsters, but by Fane, this twisted, familiar face. They discovered hidden powers, Wolf Brother channeling, found allies, and were pushed into this climactic battle.
Culminating in Moiraine's declaration, the dragon is reborn, the prophecies are coming true, but you have to think back to Caemlyn, to Elaida's foretelling.
This boy will break the world.
Like, that's the massive question mark the sources leave hanging, isn't it? The dragon is back, but the prophecy also says he'll break everything. What does that actually mean? Was the victory at the Eye the end, or just the start of something potentially much more destructive?
What happens now? To Rand, Mat, Perrin, Egwene, Nynaeve, to the whole world, now that this prophesied figure, destined for destruction and salvation, is back. It definitely gives you a lot to chew on.